Okay, you should get a sign that says, "Got it." Martin, thank you for coming. Julie, thank you for coming. Ben, thank you for coming. This is what you came to see. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Here we are. Okay, well, this is going to be a presentation on elders as melders. As melder perspectives on learning and teaching. Video is turned off. You do not turn them on or play with them if you. I don't mind being interrupted. Click on chat to connect with other participants, and while I'm presenting, I can't see you. I can't see your chat. And there's some tweeting things if you want to tweet. Okay, well, here, this one, I think. Will that show? I did start the recording. Okay, this is to tell you we're being recorded. And here is the sponsors: the future of AI, professional productivity. I got my bar in here in the middle. I can't really, let's see, I can't, oh, I can see it. At GPT and AI, Learning Revolution Book Boot Camp, and it's by 12th, 19th, 26th, 2024. And it's Hope Hepler Consulting is a sponsor of that. So if you're interested in more about AI, then there it goes. Thank you all for coming. And let's see here. What just happened? And I wanted, this is I really am just trying to get people to think about this idea of elder as melder. It's beyond sage on stage, beyond God on side. It's towards elder as melder, which is it's not very nice, but that's the English language for me. But it's the idea that in an era where knowledge is accessible in the palm of one's hand, everyone in the learning community should be responsible for participating in the learning and the teaching. And the role of teacher is to provide synthesis of group ideas. So I've been thinking about this because it's an extension of our ideas about um, about uh, um, the idea of student-centered learning, extension of that, student-centered learning, the idea that that it's not only the teacher that can teach, it can be also the learner. The learner can be the teacher. Okay, so here we go. I've been working on this month, and what I did was I did a little pilot study to see. I have 2 online courses, a little pilot study, and just this month, I have 2 online courses. One course is called International and Cross-Cultural Education, and there are 16 undergraduates in that course. And the other course is called Emerging Educational Technology, and it's a capstone course in Eastern Connecticut State University's master's degree in educational technology program that's been online since 2001. We've had about nearly 200 graduates, so it's really not a very large program. I didn't introduce myself. David Stoloff here. I'm a professor of education in the education department at Eastern Connecticut State University. Eastern is between Hartford, Connecticut, and Providence, Rhode Island. But most people would rather think it's between New York City in New York and Boston in Massachusetts. Some people might think 10 miles south of Yukon, which calls itself the basketball capital of the world. And these are the three things I was interested in asking these students. What educational technologies might be brought into the classroom? Should AI, artificial intelligence, be included in the learning process? What is the role of learner-teacher agency in the events of instruction? And I surveyed perspectives on fixed growth mindset. Uh, Related to student-centered learning, related to a new role when everyone has now all the knowledge they want to have, they have in the palm of their hand. Uh, Related to the idea that when people sit down now and they're having dinner, it's doesn't take a long time for people to take out their phones and start fact checking each other, or less less conducive for the discussion, the idea of actually checking how the world is besides the people in the room they're with, checking email and Instagram, and Facebook, and messages. Um, we're all connected now with phones. So I wanted to ask questions about that. What is the role of these technologies that might be brought into the classroom? I can't see the chat because I have it. My I have the sharing screen on. But if you have any questions, let me know. I would invite you to unmute yourself if you have a question. But if you don't, I'll keep going. Um, let's see. I wanted to mention that I am Eastern Connecticut State University is a public liberal arts college. There's a group called COPLAC, the Council of Public Liberal Arts Colleges, supposed to be one in every state and all Canadian provinces. And I think there are about 38 of them. And Eastern is the COPLAC school in Connecticut. Used to teach at Sonoma State University, which turns out to be the COPLAC school in California. The COPLAC school in New York is the CO. The COPLAC school in Massachusetts is called the Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts. And then you could check your own and see if your state has a COPLAC school. I don't know if Ireland probably doesn't have a COPLAC school, but it probably has a lot of public liberal arts college. So they could be, if COPLAC always becomes international, they could always have a branch in Ireland, I imagine, or in BC, of course. I think there is one in BC. You might want to check that. So, what the educational technologies might be brought into the classroom? The majority of the respondents, greater than 4 on a scale of 0, do not agree, but 5 strongly agreed that laptops may be used in the classroom. Now, this is really controversial among some people, having a laptop in the classroom. I know a lot of my students have laptops. It's into social access issues, of certainly, because some students don't have laptops, so they're at a disadvantage. Often seems to be a lot of students have laptops. You may wonder why that is happening in a public liberal arts college. It's because the grad students, you could see they put all 5.0, they were unanimous on having laptops in the classroom because they are all using Chromebooks, and they've been using Chromebooks for about 3 years. Students in the high schools around in our region all invested in Chromebooks. They 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 can't imagine not having Chromebooks now. The teachers, the high school teachers. So that's why they put a 5.0. They were unanimous about having laptops in the classroom. The undergraduates weren't quite unanimous. 4.4 out of so they weren't quite as strong about having laptops in the class. And let me say, 16 undergraduates and 5 graduate students do not make reality. Like, this is just showing tendency. Then I asked the question about because that's quite controversial these days, whether there can be cell phones in the classroom. Los Angeles public school districts are now saying you can't bring a cell phone into the class. And the teachers, the grad students, they said 2.4. They were negative about having cell phones in the classroom. And the undergraduates were not sure, 3.1. Okay, remember these are just tendencies. I don't know if this is reality. It's a small scale study. And I was interested about earbuds because I use earbuds all the time when I'm walking around campus, when I'm working. I really like my earbuds. But bringing them into the classroom, that comes a question. I I know that I enjoy having my earbuds on when I'm at home. Sometimes I enjoy watching TV and doing my homework, and I don't mind being distracted in many different ways where I'm doing several different things. I believe in that multitasking, even though there's a lot of research that says one should not multitask. But I'm only here for a short period of time. I'm an elder after all, and I want to get every experience I can out of it. Looks like I'm scaring people away. We're going down to 20 people, but I'll keep going. You're welcome to unmute if you'd like to talk. How about AI? That's what you came for. Should AI be included in the learning process? I was really surprised that the little support, very little support, and negative support for AI in the classroom among the teachers and the undergraduates, and using for class projects. My 5 master's degree in ed tech students said they never use it for class projects. 0 points. For the undergraduates, maybe, very slight maybe. Okay. How about other technologies they use? Well, of the 21 people in the group, Instagram, Google, campus email, messages, Facebook, Teams were commonly used. WhatsApp and Yahoo were used by a few of the respondents. WhatsApp, I understand, is really rather used internationally. But a group of my students and I went to Puerto Rico, and I tried to get them to use WhatsApp. Oh, people in Puerto Rico use WhatsApp a lot. And they said, no, let's use our messaging, text messages, and using the phones instead of doing WhatsApp. They weren't quite ready to go to WhatsApp. But I know many people in the world use WhatsApp. There was confusion. I asked them about whether they have a web page as a tool, and they said that they didn't consider. Hardly anyone said they had a web page, even though Facebook is a web page, and and also my graduate students are developing what I call a personal archive for learning, a PAL, which is a program e-portfolio, and they're developing that, and that's a website more than a web page. And so I was surprised that they didn't catch on to that. Developing, but what they recognize, they're actually developing their PALs using Google Documents, Google Documents. So maybe there's a lot of confusion about the web pages. And the use of technology among these respondents in the classroom, they said no use of technology to the uses of social media and YouTube to supplement learning. But weren't thinking about bringing the technology that they use daily into the classroom as much as I hope they would. Okay, let's see. And what about learner-teacher agency? Agency means who's responsible. And the learners, there was a Likert scale. The learners, and I went and used what's called Gagne and Briggs 9 events of instruction. Awkwardly put the learner first and then the instructor. Same verb action. And generally, there are very little differences except for these. Um, grad students didn't think that the learner should gain the attention of the learning community to start the session. They won't, but it's slight. I mean, we're talking about 1.4 versus 2.6, where 0 is scale for 1 to 5. Uh, 0 actually had 0, means that they shouldn't, and 5 meant that they agreed that they should. So it was um, and the learner gained prior knowledge. You could see that the grad students thought the learner should recall prior knowledge on the objective more than the undergraduates. And the learner gained the core information, gathers the core information to support the session objective. You could see the grad students, teachers thought that learners should be more involved in gathering core information. And you could see that the grad students thought that the learners should be should self-assess themselves more. Okay, and here is survey on perspectives on fixed growth mindset. It's about the same all across, but there were slight differences in the growth mindset between the undergraduate average response 3.2 and the graduate response to 3.0. Oh no, if that will hold up. But there was a little bit more of a difference between having a fixed mindset. The undergraduates thought more likely that there were fixed mindsets, and the graduate students, which means that fixed mindset means that you're born with. Graduate students were less likely to think about having a mindset. And I just as a cautionary slide right here, that note that there was it's a very small study. It's just about tendencies, and what I was trying to do is stress and spread the word about the idea of the elder as Melder model, an extension of stage and stage, guide on side. The next phase is elder as Melder, where the elder could be the youngest kid. A friend of mine, a grandfather, said that he learned so much from his 1-year-old granddaughter than he had learned from many other people in his life. And I also want to spread the word about personal archive for learning. I think that we don't honor learning as much as we should, and the individual should honor what they learned, and they should put it in a personal archive for learning, so they're no matter where they go, and they can look at what they learned in the past and compare it to what they learn now, and say, "I learned something." Uh, don't if you refer to these ideas as part of your research, well, I wouldn't. These are only for discussions only. I'd be very happy to have a conversation with you and collaborate with you. That's what the last line says. To develop more serious research on these ideas. And that's about it. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing. And now I can see the chat. And so if you have any questions, uh, then please put them in the chat. And I would encourage you. Good question right there from Jane. You make lists of the technology students already use and see if the students want to learn from what they are missing as a technology. I would think that's a great idea. I think I will bring that into the class, my lessons in the fall, have class discussions about what they use how they can use it for learning and teaching us. Thank you very much, Rachel, for telling me I didn't scare too many people away. Thank you. And we're all elders, even the youngest of us. Okay. Any other quell? There you are, Rachel. Thank you. Anyone have any questions about anything else? Because we have a few more minutes. Was this caption running on the bottom distracting, or was it fun? Often they make so many funny mistakes that is often very humorous. Anyone else have any other questions? Well, I will leave you then. Well, I'm not leaving you. I'm going to stay. But if you want to go somewhere else, so many great sessions. I probably wouldn't have been here if I didn't have to be. Here's my email address. So if you want to keep in touch, I'd be happy to keep in touch. And happy to collaborate. Last year, there was something called Global Education Conference. And I met someone from the University of Peace in Costa Rica. And I decided we need to go to, my students need to go to the University of Peace in Costa Rica. So do I. And so I'm trying to get the university to support the University of Peace. They spell peace wrong there. Good. Anything else? Okay, I'm glad you asked that question, Rachel. Yeah, I am promoting myself as being an old person, but when I was a young person, a long time ago, I went to Jerusalem, the Holy Land, and I looked over. I climbed one of the walls of Jerusalem over the Jaffa Gate, looked out, and I could Church of the Church of the Sepulchre, yeah, and I could look at and see the Western Wall, and I could clearly everyone could see the Dome of the Rock, Jamas. But what I saw when looking out from that wall was a forest of antennas, and I was between 2 years of being a Peace Corps volunteer in a year. I'd spent 1 year in Kinshasa, the capital, and I convinced people that I didn't need to be in Kinshasa when the rumble of the jungle was coming with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman in the fall. I needed to leave town, and they were willing to. I lived across the street from the director's office, and I went through the files and found a place as far as I could from on the Luapula River in Zambia. But even in Kinshasa, very little resources for being a teacher. Sometimes it wasn't chalk. It was a state school. I taught in a state school, which was not very well funded. And so I said, gee, what if I could get into media? What if I could get into television? I always liked television. So I was thinking, I went back and taught at Chimbambo on the Luapula River, a mission that David Livingston had founded right before he died. He was buried about 20 miles away. Right then I said, well, gee, maybe I'll go back to grad school. And after a year teaching Israel in high school near Gaza, near Ashkelon, when in a peaceful time, it was 1974, a peaceful time. It was you didn't hear the kinds of, nothing, you never hear what you hear. it was a peaceful time. I chose to look for master's degrees in educational technology. And at the time, there were only two in North America. One at the Florida State University and one in Montreal at Concordia University in Montreal. And so I figured, gee, Tallahassee or Montreal, and I went to Montreal, and and there we were given access to a TV studio, so I produced a couple of TV programs that I used with students, and that it started out with ed tech, right? And ed tech started out. We said at that time that ed tech was everything, the sun and the moon. It was anything you wanted it to be, and it still is. And we so I had TV, and I did my master's thesis on a television program called Mosaic City that I produced with a friend. Montreal, right? Montreal, yes, Montreal, yes. You're from Montreal, there, Rachel? Because I could start saying Jean de Pays if you want me to. Because Jean Baptiste Day was just on Monday, so it's not too late to sing Jean de Pays. So and then I went to Dallas and was an educational researcher in education tech, and they were doing television, instructional television for PBS, and they were also doing uh, computer assisted instruction. And so I was doing research on that. And then I figured that a master's degree wasn't enough, and I went to UCLA and studied comparative and international education. But my doctoral thesis was on ethnic television in Los Angeles, because at that time, UHF stations used to broadcast all kinds of ethnic television programs. Would get ethnic consultants to tell me what they were looking at. And that was my doctoral dissertation, comparative and international education. And then I went on back to be in high school teacher at the Center of International Commerce in Long Beach, California. And then I got my first teaching job in Plattsburgh, and my second teaching job at Cal State, and my third one at Sonoma State. And I've been at Eastern Connecticut State University for 29 years. Right. The one at UCLA, my cognate was in television in the theater arts department with a guy named Gene Youngblood. He wrote uh, Expanding Media back in the 70s. The idea was desire was manufactured by television. All we know, all we want is we are advertised for. And I became, over time, I used to be a radical behaviorist. Over time, I became Rogerian, and now I'm a radical social constructivist. I believe that nothing that is real. It's all manufactured in our society. So that's my story about my ed tech experiences. Uh, and that's why I believe that everyone should have the right to make their own reality, that our students can teach us. And you know that as teachers already. You learn more from your students than you teach them. And we should just recognize, work with them, becoming the elder because we're old. And we should meld our ideas with them. I've gone over time, and thank you for listening to me. And I enjoyed having this discussion. Thank you, Bev. That's very nice. Not gender. Oh, was I what I did I say gender? Oh, was it quoted wrong there? I mean, I have to be not gender. What did misunderstood me? What was I saying? Well, now we're going. Anyway, pleasure talking with you. You have my email address. Shoot me an email address, and I'm very happy to do national and international research with you, and get to know you better. And The Eastern Connecticut State University is in Willimantic, Connecticut. And I could go on for another 20 minutes telling you about East Willimantic. 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 No, it doesn't like magic. It is a magic place. I'm magic too. We're all magic. So if anyone would like to me to sing something, I'd be happy to do it. Otherwise, it's after 5 o'clock. And if you're still here, you should go somewhere else. But as I say, uh, it's 5 o'clock. Uh, you could stay here, but you should be going somewhere else now. Thank you very much, everyone. Nice meeting you all. Rachel, nice seeing you. Nice meeting you other folks. And I'm sorry you didn't talk, but we'll talk other ways. Okay, see ya. For those who are still staying, you can hear me talk more. Radio station in California at 9 a.m. EST, Pacific Coast Time, Mondays. AGUA writers. So you have time. And a guy, Ryan Ray's. No, yeah. Oh boy, it is funny, this caption. It's funny. Okay, anyone want to say anything else? Presenter, you've been here, but you've been very good presenter. Just stay around all this time. The learning revolution person. I don't think. Hi, DV. Nice to meet you. And Con Simmons. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Hi, DV. Thank you for thinking I knew something. Oh, you see, if you're still here, the other word I'm trying to sell, not to call cell phones, call them knowledge tools, or for short, no tools. But my wife says people would think that. And if you're still here, I'll give you another bit of wisdom. Read Love's last. If you don't want to read it, you could listen to it on YouTube. There's a 40-minute version, a 4-minute version. So, Con Simmons, are you there? You don't write anything in the chat. I'll say goodbye to. You are the host now. The presenter left too. So, see you, Con Simmons. Take care. Thank you for being here. Hope you had fun.